The Song of Solomon, chapter 6. The previous chapter ended with a dialogue between the Jews and the nations, the daughters of Jerusalem, during the exile, the time that extends from the destruction of the first temple to the coming of Messiah. Now you'll recall that the nations were cynically asking what the difference was between her beloved, the God of the Bible, and any other, the sort of thing that is asked today. Why do you still love God, they ask. And the Jewish response is to describe his beauty. He cannot compare with the gods of the nations. And this chapter opens with the nations mocking her. This is strikingly similar to the situation today. Now, verse 1 of chapter 6 says this: "Whither is thy beloved gone, O thou fairest among women? Whither is thy beloved turned aside, that we may seek him with thee?" In other words, he may be all those things you've described, but if he loves you, why has he left you? It wouldn't be an unreasonable question if it was sincere, but the remainder of the verse suggests that it isn't a sincere question. They ask, where has he turned aside? It's an expression that is almost always used negatively in the Bible. We turn aside from the way. We turn aside from following truth or seeking God. To turn aside implies a feebleness in original conviction or commitment. We are distracted and wander off. In other words, the nations imply that God has lost interest in her and gone elsewhere. Now, I can't help but be reminded of the heresy called replacement theology, that says that God has given up on the Jews and replaced them with the church, that his everlasting and unconditional love was not everlasting and unconditional at all, but had conditions attached and was temporary. Our part is not to try to explain away God's love for Israel, but to share in his love for them and be encouraged by his unshakable faithfulness. He said to them, "Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear or be afraid, for the Lord your God, for he is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you." Deuteronomy 31:6. God's faithfulness to Israel is the same faithfulness that he will show to us. The Amplified Version translates Jesus' words in Matthew 28:20 like this: "Lo, I am with you always, remaining with you perpetually, regardless of circumstance and on every occasion, even to the end of the age."